Hello friends, welcome to C# with Unity tutorial series. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss more about interfaces. So, let's get started. We take an example of a game. Let's take, in my game, I have many instances of parrot. I might have many instances of the bird parrot. Maybe we have many instances of aeroplane. Maybe we have many instances of helicopter. And you can see that parrot and sparrow belongs to a generic class called as bird. Aeroplane and helicopter are belonging to a general class called as aeromobile. And we know that parrot can fly, sparrow can fly. So what I can do, I can add to this generic bird class called as a fly method, and we can inherit the parrot from the bird class. So parrot class inheriting from the bird class, we know that automatically the fly method will get inherit to the parrot class, and I inherit the sparrow class from the bird class. We know that the fly method will get inherit automatically to the sparrow class. Similarly, I can add a fly method, fly method to the aeromobile class. Here aeroplane can fly, helicopter can fly. So I can inherit this aeroplane from the aeromobile class, and we know that automatically this fly method will get inherit to the aeroplane class. Similarly, the helicopter class I am going to inherit from aeromobile class. So what happens? The fly method will get inherit to the helicopter class. So I need to create one bird class, I need to create one parrot class, I need to create a sparrow class, aeromobile class, aeroplane class, helicopter class. If you observe carefully, aeromobile having a method called as fly, bird class also having a method called as fly. Is it possible to create a single class and write the fly method in that and inherit that class to all of these four classes? Is it possible? If you observe, aeromobile is a flyable, helicopter is flyable, sparrow is flyable, parrot is flyable. So I can create one class called as flyable, and I can put method called as fly in it. Then I can inherit the parrot class from the flyable class. Then what happens? The fly method will get inherit to the parrot class. Similarly, I can inherit sparrow class from the flyable class. The fly method will get inherit to the sparrow class. I can delete this, and we know that aeroplane I can inherit from the flyable. Automatically this fly method will get inherit to the aeroplane class. Similarly, helicopter class I can inherit from the flyable class. The fly method will get inherit to the helicopter class. Even though the parrot and sparrow belongs to a bird class, aeroplane and helicopter belongs to a aeromobile class, they are completely of different kinds. Even though they are different kinds, you can inherit the flyable to all these classes. Now here comes the decision, whether I have to create a class, a abstract class, or an interface, or a static class, or a finite class. What kind of a class I need to create to implement this flyable class? Let's begin. First of all, I start with a class called as flyable, opening brace, closing brace, and I create a method public void, and the method name is going to be fly. And you can observe here I created the flyable class. Now if I try to make an instance of that, flyable f1 is equal to new flyable semicolon f1 dot fly semicolon. Is it makes any sense to you guys that saying a fly on f1 dot fly? Now what is F1 actually? We don't know what is flyable. If I say parrot.fly, that makes sense. Parrot.fly, that makes sense. Aeroplane.fly, that makes sense. Helicopter.fly, that makes sense. Flyable.fly, that won't make sense. So you can observe that I don't have any idea of what implementation I have tried to this fly method, because I don't know the instances of this flyable what they can do. So in that situation, I am going to create a fly method without a body. And we know that we are going to use the abstract keyword to create methods which are unimplemented in a class, right? So if I save this, we know that if we have any member as abstract, that class must and should be an abstract class. If I save and come to Unity, we are going to get the error message, flyable fly is an abstract, but it is declared in the non-abstract class. So I must and should make this class as an abstract class. Okay, now we have created an abstract class called flyable. In that I have an abstract method fly which is unimplemented. That makes a good sense. We are taking a proper decision, no problem. But if you carefully observe, here the flyable class has only one method called as fly which is completely unimplemented. We know that if a class contains all the members unimplemented, then that class you can convert to an interface. So here you can see that I changed the abstract class to an interface and I changed this flyable name to iFlyable. So we have an interface iFlyable. Good. Let me save this. Now we know that in the interfaces all members are by default public. I need not to use the access modifier. If I use the access modifier, I am going to get the error message. Let me show that. The public modifier is not valid for this item. So let me remove that. And also we know that all methods are unimplemented. We need not to use the abstract keyword also. If I save and go to Unity, we get the error. The modifier abstract is not valid for this item. So I am going to remove that also. And now we have a simple void fly method which is an unimplemented method. So now we have created a proper interface called as iFlyable with a fly method. That is done. Now next thing is I need to create many classes. Parrot class, parrot class, aeroplane class, helicopter class, and inherit them by the flyable interface, that is iFlyable interface. Let's begin then. And also we know that now we cannot create an instance for an interface. I cannot say here iFlyable if1 is equal to new iFlyable. This is not possible. We know that we cannot create an instance for an interface, and that makes sense. There is no implementation for any method. Making an instance of that will not give any sense. So if I save and go to Unity, we get the error, cannot create an instance of an interface iFlyable. So that is not possible. That is really good. Now I am going to create this class called as parrot. So I create a class called as parrot, and of course I need to inherit from iFlyable interface, opening brace, closing brace. If you are inheriting an interface to any class, there will be a contract between a class and interface that all unimplemented methods must and should be implemented in the class. So if I save and go to Unity, we get the error message that parrot does not implement the interface member iFlyable fly. So you must and should write the implementation. That's the contract. So all I need to do is public void say fly fly and write opening brace, closing brace. And here I know the implementation. So simply I can say here debug.log and I can write here parrot is flying. So that's good. Now we can create an instance of the parrot and execute this, right? I can create any number of instances of the parrot class. So I can say here parrot p1 is equal to new parrot, then I say parrot1 dot fly. This makes sense because we are telling to a parrot to fly. If I save and run, we know that p1 is of type parrot. So when I say parrot fly, it goes to the parrot class, executes this fly method, I get the output parrot is flying. So here I am going to get the output parrot is flying. If I save, go to Unity, we will not be having any error message, and if I run the code, we are going to get the output as parrot is flying. That's good. Let's proceed further. Now we can create another class also, class called as sparrow, and we know that sparrow bird is also flyable, so it is going to inherit from I flyable interface, opening brace, closing brace. So we created the parrot, we created the sparrow. I save this. We know that now we have a contract. This child class must and should implement all the members of the base class interface. So if I save and go, we get the error message that sparrow does not implement the interface member fly. So all I need to do is I need to implement the fly method. So I copy this and paste it here, fly method. Here I say sparrow modularity. Sparrow is flying. Now we have the facility to create a sparrow. So I say here sparrow1 is equal to new sparrow, and I say sparrow1 dot fly. So what happens here? The sparrow1 also gets fly. So when I say s1 dot fly, s1 is of type sparrow. It goes to the sparrow class, executes the fly method. So we get the output as sparrow is flying. So here I paste it, save, go to Unity. We will not be having any error message. And if I run the code, we get parrot is flying and sparrow is flying. Good. Let's proceed further. Next, I need to create the aeroplane. So if I need to create the aeroplane class, I am going to create a class called as aeroplane, and I inherit it from I flyable interface, opening brace, closing brace. We know that aeroplane is also a flyable vehicle. So we know that now we have a contract. If I save, go to Unity, we get the error message that aeroplane does not implement the interface fly method. So I am going to implement that. I copy this and paste it here. I am going to change the implementation to aeroplane is flying. And I know that we can create an instance for this aeroplane concrete class. So here I say aeroplane1 is equal to new aeroplane bracket bracket semicolon. I can say a1 dot fly bracket bracket semicolon. So here what happens? When I say a1 dot fly, a1 is of type aeroplane, so it goes to the aeroplane class and executes the fly method. We get the output aeroplane is flying. If I save, go to Unity, we are not going to get any error message, and if I run the code, we are going to get the output as parrot is flying, sparrow is flying, aeroplane is flying. That's good. So now you are understanding, right, how interfaces are helpful. Let's create another class. I am going to create that class is going to be helicopter. helicopter. Helicopter is also a flyable device or a flyable vehicle. So I say flyable, opening brace, closing brace, and we know that we must and should implement the fly method. So I am going to copy this and paste it down, and here I am going to say helicopter is flying. I save this. We know that we can create an instance for the helicopter. I can go down and I can create an instance for the helicopter. Let me move these things up, and here I paste helicopter. Helicopter1 is equal to new helicopter, opening brace, closing brace, h1 dot fly semicolon. Now what happens? We know that here h1 is of type helicopter. When I say h1 dot fly, it goes to the helicopter class and execute the fly method. We get helicopter is flying as the output. So final output will be parrot is flying, sparrow is flying, aeroplane is flying, helicopter is flying. If I save, go to Unity, there are no errors. If I run the code, we are going to get the output: parrot is flying, sparrow is flying, aeroplane is flying, helicopter is flying. That's good. Now we got some information. Now we have accessed each class and executed the fly method. We also know that base class reference can point to the derived class instance and execute the members, right? So what I can do here is I can create a base class reference iFlyable. I can say here flyable. Okay, let me say iFlyable. iFlyable is equal to, I can say new parrot. I can create a new parrot. Let me comment all these lines here to here. / star star /. So here you can see I have iFlyable. Let me cut this from here and write here. So iFlyable equal to new parrot. Now what is happening here? The base class reference is pointing to the derived class instance. I can call iFlyable dot fly. Now what happens here, guys? We know that iFlyable is of type iFlyable. So iFlyable will go to the iFlyable interface and try to execute this fly method, and there is no implementation. As iFlyable is pointing to the parrot, it will go to that class, parrot class, and checks whether there is an implementation for fly method. Yes. So it is going to execute this code. We are going to get parrot is flying on the screen in this place. Control V. I save it, go to Unity, and if I run the code, you can see that we are getting parrot is flying. So whatever we are expecting, we are getting that. That's good. Similarly, I can create here a new sparrow, SPARROW. Now I can point using this iFlyable. I can point to the sparrow instance and execute that, and I am going to get the output as SPARROW. Sparrow is flying. Save. Go to Unity. We will not be having any error message, and I can run the code. You can see that I am getting sparrow is flying. So you can use the interface reference variable to point to its derived class instances and execute their method. Even I can execute the aeroplane also. Save. Go to Unity. We will not be having any error message, and if I run the code, you can see that I got aeroplane is flying. That's good. Let's proceed further. So I hope you guys have understood this part also. Let me comment that, and remember this point you should remember. Now let's proceed further. Now if you see here in my game, I have a parrot and sparrow instances. I can take a gun and shoot a parrot and kill that one. I can shoot a sparrow and kill that one. But I cannot shoot an aeroplane, I cannot shoot a helicopter and kill them. They are not killable elements, whereas sparrow is a killable element. Sparrow is a killable game object. So I cannot add a kill here. If I say here a function called as void and add kill function, then what happens means you have to add this kill method to the parrot class. That will be okay. You can write an implementation to kill method in the sparrow. That also makes sense, no problem. But implementing the kill method in the aeroplane won't make sense, right? Implementing a kill method in the helicopter won't make sense. You must and should implement all members in the derived classes. So this method should not go here, and also kill method won't make sense writing in the iFlyable interface. So I remove that. So what's the solution now? The solution is I am going to create another interface called as killable, and I can say here void KILL kill. Can you see that? Here comes the use of interface. Now you can see that parrot is a flyable. I have inherited that. Sparrow is a flyable. We have inherited that from the iFlyable interface. Now parrot and sparrow are killable, so I should be able to inherit from the killable interface. We know that a class can inherit more than one interfaces. So multiple inheritance is possible through interfaces. So I can write here killable. Now as I have written killable here, I must and should implement the kill method in the parrot. If you save, go to Unity, you get the error message that parrot does not implement the interface member killable kill. So I must and should implement that public void kill bracket bracket opening brace closing brace. So here I can say debug.log and I can write a message that parrot is killed. Simple. So now you have the kill behavior and the fly behavior added to the parrot, and you can see you have used the interfaces efficiently to achieve your goal. Now you can create a parrot and you can kill that and fly whatever you want. So I can say here parrot p1 is equal to new parrot bracket bracket semicolon. I can say p1 dot fly, it will fly, p1 dot kill, or I can say p1 dot die, that's also a good thing. So here I say p1 dot kill, it should get killed. If I save, go to Unity, you will not be having any error message, and if I run the code, you can see that we have parrot is flying, parrot is killed. So that is interesting. So instead of killable, I can say dieable. That is also a good thing, right? So instead of killable, I say here die, dieable. So I can say here die. Here I can say die. Here I can say dieable. So save and come to Unity, and of course we will be having the error message that down I am calling the kill method. So here I say die, die. I save, go to Unity. So if I run the code, we get parrot is flying, parrot is killed, or I can say parrot is dead, right? Parrot is dead. So similarly, sparrow also I have to make dieable, and I must and should implement that method public void die opening brace closing brace, and I can say here debug.log, I can say sparrow is dead. Save. Now we have the facility to create the sparrow. So I can create here sparrow, sparrow1 is equal to new sparrow, and I say sparrow1 dot fly, it will fly. I say sparrow1 dot die, it will die. I save and go to Unity. We will not be having any error message, and if I run the code, you can see that I am getting parrot is flying, parrot is dead, sparrow is flying, sparrow is dead. That's good. Let's proceed further. So now we are understanding how interfaces are helpful to implement the multiple inheritance, how they are flexible. Now even I can observe the code that aeroplane we can damage, right? We can damage the aeroplane. So I can create an interface for that also. So I say here interface called as damageable, and I can create a function called as damage bracket bracket semicolon. Parrot is not damageable. Similarly, sparrow is not damageable, but aeroplane is flyable as well as damageable. So I am going to inherit here damageable. I must and should implement the damage method. Otherwise, we are going to get the error message. So damage, opening brace, closing brace. Here I am going to say debug.log. I can say here aeroplane is damaged. So now I can create an aeroplane and make it fly as well as damage. Go down. So here I write a code. Aeroplane 1 is equal to new aeroplane, and I can say aeroplane 1 dot fly. I can say aeroplane 1 dot damage. So if I run the code, we are going to get aeroplane 1 or aeroplane is flying and aeroplane is damaged. Let's see that. If I run the code, you are going to see last output, aeroplane is flying, aeroplane is damaged. Similarly, we can use this interface to extend more. Here, helicopter is also damageable. So I write here damageable. I am going to implement the damage method. If I do not implement, definitely I will get the error message. So here I say helicopter. So I copy this from here and I paste it over here. Now you have the facility to create a helicopter as well as, so let me create a helicopter. H1 is equal to new helicopter, and I can say h1 dot fly, and I can say h1 dot damage. I can say get damage also. That looks good. Okay, save and go to Unity. We will not be having any error message. And if I run the code, the last two outputs will be helicopter is flying, helicopter is damaged. That's good. So hope you guys are understanding how interfaces are created. When do you create an interface? How do you inherit? And how do you access the members and execute how they are useful? Now let me comment this complete part from here to here. And we know that I can use the base class reference variables to point to the derived class instances and execute their method. Check this out. I create one flyable variable, flyable, and now I say equal to new parrot bracket semicolon. When I say flyable, check out what methods I can see. I can see only the fly method. Why? Because in the flyable interface you have only fly method. You can access only this method. Using now flyable, you cannot kill a parrot. You cannot make damage to an aeroplane. You can only make those game objects fly. So I can say here fly. This will work. There is no problem. If I save, go to Unity, you will get parrot is flying. If I run the code, you can see that parrot is flying. I got it. Now if I want to kill the parrot, I have to create another variable that is going to be Damageable. What is the name of, I have used Damageable. Let me change this to Damageable. Let me select Ctrl H, change that to Dieable and replace all places. Similarly, I select this Damageable. I change that Damageable to Damageable, and change all the places. So let me save this, and now I go down and change here. I add Damageable, I say DMG is equal to new helicopter, I can say, and I can say IDMG dot. You can see only damage method is visible. You cannot fly or you cannot kill. So I can select damage. This will damage the helicopter. Similarly, Dieable, I can say Dieable is equal to new sparrow. So we can tell the sparrow to die. So Dieable dot I can say die. So you need the interfaces, because you can see here iFlyable and iDieable both are the base classes for the parrot. So you can access the parrot instance and execute these methods by using the reference variables of iFlyable as well as iDieable. So hope you guys are understanding. It's very simple to understand. Okay, so if I save and run the code, we will not be having any error message, and if I run the code, we are going to get the proper output that parrot is flying, helicopter is damaged, sparrow is dead. You can make your code more flexible. Now let me create one class called as engine, opening brace, closing brace, and I do not want this engine instance should be created, and I do not want this engine should be inherited. So all I need to do is I need to declare this as a static class. We know that if I declare a static class, I cannot create an instance for this class, as well as I cannot inherit it, as well as I cannot inherit from other class also. So I have lot of things. In this one, I can create some method, public, and we know that all the methods, all the members in the static class will be static. So I say here static void, I can say KILL still, and this is going to take a reference to iDieable object. So IDIEABLE obj. So it takes any dieable object and it calls iDieable obj.die. So it calls the die function on that iDieable object. So this is very helpful now. So how it is helpful? You can see that. All I need to create is a parrot. So I create a parrot, p1 is equal to new parrot, and we know that parrot can be dieable. It is a dieable object, right? It inherits from the dieable. So all I need to say is engine dot still the p1. P1 is a dieable object, so I am passing the p1 to this one, and we know that it goes to iDieable, and we have a die method there, and there is no implementation, so it goes to the parrot class, right? So it executes the die method. I get the output as parrot is dead. So I can copy that, come down, and here I am going to get the output as parrot is dead. So I am using the engine to perform lot of operations. Save, go to Unity, and if I run the code, I am going to get the output as parrot is dead. So very useful code. Now you can fly the parrot, you can fly, you can damage whatever you want. Now you can access the kill method by using the class name engine, because this is a static method, and we can pass the respective reference to the respective method. So I can create one method here, public static void fly, and it takes iFlyable object, iFlyable obj. You can pass any flyable instance, and it calls iFlyable obj dot fly on that. So now you have the engine ready. Through this engine you can make the objects fly also. So I can say here engine dot fly. What do you want to fly? I want to fly the parrot one. So if I save and go to Unity, and if I run the code, you are going to get the output as parrot is flying. You can not only fly the parrot, you can also fly the aeroplane, which is completely of different kind. Aeroplane A1 is equal to new aeroplane, and you can tell engine fly the aeroplane 1. Save, go to Unity, and if I run the code, you can see that I am getting aeroplane is flying. So understand this complete code. We have already discussed a lot of things. I hope you guys will understand these things very easily. So very simple code, guys. I hope you guys have understood how interfaces are helpful to achieve. They are really helpful if you understand. They help you to code flexible code, as well as they help you to reduce coupling, increase the cohesion in the code. Now let's come to this place. We have discussed all these points from here to here. I would like to tell you some limitations of interfaces and abstract classes. If you add a new method to an interface, then all children must and should implement that method. That is one of the disadvantages. Whereas if you add a new method to an abstract class, you can give some default meaning, right? You can write a body and write some default code. Then that method need not be overridden by the children's. Whereas here, all the children must and should implement all the methods. Even though you add one new method to an interface, that method should be implemented by all the inherited methods. So you have to go to all children and write the body for that newly added method. So that is one of the limitation, or I can say disadvantage of interface. So you should create interfaces where you need not to enter later any new method. Okay. And next thing is classes are used mainly for implementing is a relationship. Interfaces are used implementing for able to kind of relationship. Like if you have something flyable, damageable, killable, dieable, enumerable, comparable. So those are all interface. So able things, if you have, then you need to create an interface for that. And one more thing I would like to tell here, take an example that here I have a class called as inheritance demo, right? And it is inheriting from a class called as MonoBehaviour. You can inherit an interface also. Maybe I can add flyable interface to it. You can inherit a class from another class as well as an interface. Now all you need to do is you must and should implement a method flyable in this class. So I need to write here a body for the fly method. That's it. You can say like inheritance demo is flying. Okay. I'm just giving you an example. This won't make sense writing here fly, but I'm telling you that you can inherit a class from another class as well as an interface. It is really useful in our games. For more benefits, please subscribe, like, comment and share. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial. Keep learning, keep coding, keep sharing.